Well, Slancha, and how you do, Buckaroos? How the heck are you? I am Tom. You know who I am, but I'm drinking some wine this evening. Why? Because I didn't think I could drink any more beer. I had enough already, man. You know, got off work a little early, and I went to Banter Brewing, and I had I had 3 flights out there because it's flight night. So then my wife and I went out for dinner for some Mexican food. And quite frankly, my belly is so hard at this moment. So, oh my God. So I had to have some wine because I didn't think anything else would penetrate. Anyway, Stonehill Winery, 2017. So I've been pronouncing this wrong. I've been pronouncing it Chambourcin. Apparently, it's pronounced Chambourcin because I was corrected recently at a winery. It just looks like it ought to be Chambourcin, but apparently it's pronounced Chambourcin. I have no idea because, I'm a beer guy. Anyway, 2017 Chambourcin, Missouri dry red wine. I hadn't had this one yet from Stonehill. I believe it says, let me find it says the ABV here somewhere. I just can't remember where it is. 13.5%, I believe it says here. Let me show you that label. Show you the back side of the label. Oh, there it is. I remember looking at it earlier. Yep, 13.5. Let me show it to you. Yeah, this is becoming my favorite. This and the Norton are really the two that I really love the most. The dry reds. But I'm getting to really love this one because I like the full bodied nature as well as the Norton. Oh, mercy. Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous. Anyway, this isn't official. So next week, next Thursday, I'm going to kick off my At the Pub, more podcast-like series. I'm going to have some guests come on, and I'm not going to name drop a lot of them, but I'm going to name drop the first guest. The first guest on next Thursday's show is going to be the one, the only, Beer Samurai. Some of you may know him from the Lager Room guys. He's a very known, well fixture in the craft beer community. But him and I are going to, because of the format is at the pub, we're going to talk about some different things other than just beer. Because both of us have this curmudgeon-like, curmudgeon-like personality about us, I guess. We may go full tilt Andy Rooney on you and start telling you everything that bothers us. But we will try to do it in a slightly humorous way. Go full tilt Andy Rooney. You know what bothers me? Oh, we're gonna go there. We're gonna go to everything. Anyway, yeah, it's not scripted, but there may be a topic or two that we know we want to talk about that we will bring up. So I'm really looking forward to that with my friend David, the Beer Samurai, who I've known for a long time on social media here. And then there's a topic here we might get into later too that I'm not going to bring up at this point, but I am looking forward to going full tilt Andy Rooney on you. I'm not ready to drop some names, but there are a few musicians that I am I'm very excited about bringing on the show as well, because again, I want it to be more about just the alcohol, right? I want it to be a pub conversation. It's folks that you would bring in. So, and me being a very big, devout music guy too, as well. I'm looking forward to having conversations with musicians, some local, some not so local. So, but I don't want to drop those names. So I've actually firmed those dates up. I'm close on a couple, but well, actually, I have one that actually did firm up, but I don't want to mention that name yet. It's a biggie, man. It's a biggie for me. But I was talking with my wife. We're talking about how the direction I want to take the show. I want it to be at the pub as if we're having a conversation, or at the pub. It doesn't have to be about the alcohol. It can be about music, sports, whatever. I may get into politics, but that's going to just depend on the guests, right? Certain guests I'm not going to get into politics with because I don't want to alienate their audience, right? So I'm only going to get into the politics with guests that really want to get into politics. But when I was going over the people that I know, and most people that I know are either alcohol related or musicians. I don't really have, even though I do like sports and baseball specifically, I don't really, I was going through the folks I would invite on the show. I don't really have athlete friends anymore for some reason. At one point I did, but it seemed to have gone a different direction. So I either know you from music or from drinking. It seems to be the only reason I know people these days. It's either alcohol related or music related. Those are the only people I know. But there are a handful of local Springfield musicians that I think are just wow. I mean, the quality of their work is just amazing. So I'm hoping to get a handful of those guys on here. And I've reached out to a couple. I just haven't quite firmed up the dates, which is why I don't want to mention their names at this particular point in time until I know for sure it's going to happen. But I think there's a couple you're going to be surprised about. I've also got some not so local musicians that might surprise you as well. But again, I don't want to mention their names until I've firmed it up completely. So anyway, having said that, yeah. So I am excited for next Thursday to have a 1 hour conversation with myself and the Beer Samurai. I have made it clear to a lot of folks so that not everybody's able to stay on the air for an hour. That's okay. So because of some of the people I've been really trying to get on here, is that if you can only make it on for 15, 20 minutes, that's fine too. Whatever you can do. I know everybody's got a busy schedule. But I've really been working hard to get some musician friends on here because, well, I'm a big music guy. A lot of folks don't know that about me. I know a lot of music trivia. I was a wannabe musician way back when until I realized I had no talent. But yeah, I love music. I listen to music most of the time. I don't watch a lot of television. When my wife's not here, most of I got my Spotify going on. So I am excited to have some musicians on, and again, there's a few that I don't want to mention names yet until I know I can firm it up. But I think some of you might be surprised at the caliber of musicians I've got coming on. Just do an informal conversation with a guy just beginning a podcast, right? So we're just starting this thing. I'm kind of an unknown figure, so the fact that some of these folks are willing to do this for me, I'm pretty excited about that. I'm very excited about it, to be honest with you. When I found out a couple, I was kind of going to my wife and said, "Oh my God, do you believe so and so said yes?" I can't believe they agreed to do the show. I'm getting very excited. So there's still a couple I haven't yet got around to asking, but I was watching a new show called Tulsa King. I know this is probably an old quote, but it happens on the show. Somebody says something, and somebody says something else, but the quote is, "It's always a no until you ask," right? And so that's kind of where I am at this point. It's always a no until I ask. So I've got to get up the guts to ask a few people to be on the show because it's always a no until I ask. If they can't do it, hey, I'm okay with that. I get it. I mean, I'm just getting started. If you don't want to do a show with me, that's okay. But it doesn't hurt to ask. I'm really hoping I can get some of these guys on here because I think it would be awesome. Because I just want to hear their hear about what they've got going on coming up. It's not going to be a gotcha show of any kind. Don't expect to hear any fireworks because that's not what I'm going for. I'm not looking to argue with anybody. I'm looking to have a nice conversation, just as two friends were meeting at a pub. That's the whole point of the show. That's why it's at the pub. It's if two friends were meeting. So don't expect any fireworks. Don't expect any arguments. Expect to hear two folks having a nice conversation because that's the whole point of the thing. Wow, this thing is really dry. It's a dry red, right? This is a dry red, right? Wow. Yes, it is, Tom. It's supposed to be a dry red. It says right on the bottle. Yeah, the Norton and the Champerson, for some reason, have really been speaking to me. I was going to have a beer with you, but well, frankly, I had a few, I had a few at Banner, and now we got to go a different. I took a break. We got some dinner, but some Mexican. But the Mexican kind of sitting like a rock, so I didn't want to add some more beer on top of that, right? So anyway, I digress. So I popped the wine. I had a glass with you. I'm starting to get a feel for it though, the Chamberson. Yeah, so the Ozark Hills, they call that campfire something. Yeah, because they tell you to get kind of notes of this, that, and the other, very campfire esque kind of thing. Yeah, I kind of see that now having the Stonehill version. Is you almost feel these roasted marshmallow like notes, right? It does finish extremely dry. There's no lie about that. So anyway, yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to kind of do a kind of an announcement, I guess. I'll come back later. I'm going to rest a little bit. I'll probably come back with a beer, something a little lighter than this. This is going to hurt me later. Anyway, yeah, so the first show will feature the one, the only Beer Samurai. I've got a few other irons in the fire, if you will, for future episodes. I've already got one locked up other than the first episode, but I'm not ready to say the name yet. So I'll wait till actually I do the first episode with the Beer Samurai before I mention that one because it might not be a biggie for some of you, but for me, it's a biggie. And for those that know this particular artist, it'll be a big one too. Known more as a regional artist, he has been a nationally known artist. And he's a personal favorite of mine for a lot of reasons. So, but anyway, I'm very excited that my very first guest is the Beer Samurai because that's perfect. Two old curmudgeons just having a conversation. So anyway, I am Tom. You know who I am. I'm going to skip to the end and say I'll run a good guy. And I will be back shortly. Actually, I want to take a wine break too. We're going to have to do something else. Anyway, uh, I'll be back later. Anyway, cheers, man.